What's up, everyone? Today we made around 191. This is the trades from today. I'm going to show you guys 192. So last week was pretty bad, but before I start, how would you guys like if I went live on Monday? Monday with the probably small caps, and then when I'm done, I'll probably stop live and start it back up again for the options trading. So the way it would work would be this, because I like to use my phone to trade. I don't like placing orders on the computer just because I'm gonna have the YouTube up, and then I'm gonna have my news feed and then my other charts, and then the skylit, which is what we have here, and we'll go over that. So let's see if I were to. Okay, so here's how it would look like on here. So I would be using my computer camera, and I'm going to switch to it briefly just right now. This is how it would look. So just let me know if you guys don't mind. I mean, it's just my face. A different view, but it's not going to be the clear crystal view. Just let me know. This is how it's going to look like, but I like to use my phone when I record. Focused. All right, there we go. Now it's focused. So yeah. So just let me know in the comments if you guys are down for that. I'm pretty down for that. And let's go over right now how we done in a month. So not too bad. Not. It could have been worse, but I did decrease in equity, and last week was pretty bad. Like this is a really bad loss. 770 loss. These two were losses, and it's all because I held too long. I held way too long, but I did have a good week, the second week of March, and I locked in those profits. So it's still accounted for something. I have a job. It's not my only source of income, and tax returns came clutch too, really well. Like so, I'm not too worried. Like at the end of the day, it's like okay, I still feel at ease, and I just have to get better. I can't be holding. These are all 0 dates till expiration, so they are going to be more at risk. And the less trades are the better. Today I didn't take as many trades. QQQ, and then I traded Pltr. This is based off of Trump tweet, which I'll go over. So we'll go over the what I saw today on QQQ. All right. So first thing in the morning, I like to check the bigger time frames. Where are we at on the 4 hour at least? And I've been checking more of the weekly too. The weekly has been pretty bullish. I mean, look at this. You don't see the gap here, but on the daily you'll see the gap. So if you go to the gap, and this is the Robinhood, I might do a really quick video. I have a friend who's might start trading soon, and I just want to do a quick video, see how you guys can set up to show you guys on how to set this up for trading and what I think is necessary and important to get started, at least on the Robinhood charts. If you don't want to pay for warrior trading, which I have up here, which I like for the small cap stocks, then this is a free option. It works just as great too. I don't like it as much, but it still works and get the job done. So on the daily, you see there's still a gap. I think a lot of people are trying to catch puts. I'm seeing a lot of people getting smoked on puts, but I just remember, don't focus on your bias. Focus on what you're trading. This is looking good. This is really good. Bounce off the 200 moving average on the weekly. Still a bit more room to the upside, but we did hit a bit of resistance. I did notice here on the daily, at least not on here. So I'm gonna go to the daily on the warrior trading because I think it's a bit cleaner. This is what I noticed. So I'm like, hey, okay, on the bigger time frame, we have these wicks at the 613 level. I'm like, okay, that could pose some resistance, and you know maybe I could have traded the puts, and puts and calls say would have profited, but puts definitely a lot more, and I'll go over that. So this makes me I need to look at other price targets. If we're breaking out from a range, I need to look at, hey, what stands out the most? Those wicks right there at the top from March 4th and March 11th definitely stood out more. And I did trade small cap stocks, by the way. I made about $15, I think. I'll go over that at the end as well. Green, so one trade only. Okay, so I pull this up, I'm looking at bigger time frames, like, okay, fine. Pre-market, we had a 613 rejected, and I set some, supports. I'm like, okay, we have a support there, and then market opens. So low of 611.70 is what I'm looking at, and then high 613.10. I'm like, okay, that's our range. So back to this. So this is what this looks like at first, and I noticed we have a king node right here in the beginning. So as this is going, I've been learning more. A positive gamma environment is going to create more choppiness, more positive. You don't see the negative. There's more positives in this area, especially on the upside. And if there's more, I guess, lighter, like Pika clouds are more yellow, greenish, it's going to be, very slow price action, very choppy. And I learned if they're more purple, more barnacle-ish, they'll, or I guess the more important thing is the negative and positive too. The negative gamma is going to indicate that there's more volatility, so more of a trend to follow through. A positive gamma is going to be more choppiness, and then you can see how it's more positive in this area. So it's going to stay within a range right now, which, this does correlate. I was looking at the chart, I'm like, okay, this does show that it is going to be a bit choppy, and this is, already 30 minutes in, 40 minutes into the market, so we still range bound, and I'm like, huh. I see a structure though, and I see a node, I see this, value, this magnitude. The one thing I was learning on here, where it's like you have to focus on the magnitude as well. The magnitude will matter the most. However, SPY and SPX had their king nodes at the very bottom, so I'm like, huh. So tech rose up in the morning. QQQ was very influenced by tech, and it was very strong this morning. SPY and SPX a little bit more diversified, and that didn't show that. So I need to follow what SPY and SPX, or SPY actually, will really communicate. IWM, I might give this a try in IWM. IWM, you see, it's very tight because it doesn't move as much as QQQ or SPY, but I'll try to see if it will work using this, and it should. So I notice we have a king node, 615. So this is going. And then I'm waiting 30 minutes. We have some data. I like to wait 30 minutes. We broke the range. And then I noticed right here, we're testing this bottom. We recovered instantly. And I was like, okay, cool. 611.24. That's a good floor. So what time was this at? 7:10. So at 7:10, let's roll this back. I love this too. Also, what I noticed too, what you can use, you can go back to previous dates. You can't go back to last year, but I think from the year you can go on, previous days, like from this current year. You can't go on from like the years before, but I think this is pretty neat. I'm like, okay, you can kind of back test some stuff. You're like, okay, I'm noticing this is what happens, on a really strong flush day. Today it's flushed a little bit, but we've seen stronger flushes, and it was already pumping in the morning, but I was like, I don't know. We'll see. So I'm definitely going to try to like back test and like look at some stuff and see what I am seeing. So 7:10, I'm like, okay, look, so we still have positive gamma. King node still 615, and it was maintaining. The other range too was at 607. I was like, I don't know about that. I was a little bit iffy. So I took my first position on the QQQ around 7:15. I was like, hey, let's see how this candle closes. We broke through the VWAP going down. We instantly recovered, and we recovered above VWAP, above our EMAs. I'm like, okay, I think this is a good spot. I'm going to trust what I see in the chart, and then this is making me feel confident because there's still some room to the upside. 615, 614, and the wall was 613 from what we were seeing. I was like, I don't know if maybe we can break that. This is still telling me, hey, there's potential room. And we haven't tested the high as well. We tested the high over here the second time. The first time was here. I guess the first time was pre-market, but anything in the open, this was the second time at the test, and I think I let this run. So yeah, 7:30. So at 7:30 is right here in the middle. I'm noticing this is building up. These orders are building up, and then I'm noticing too, or what I learned, this can be used as a ceiling. The ceiling would be the 615. The ceiling would be the 615. That's the price target. And once it reaches there, usually it'll stay stagnant. I mean, that's how it was yesterday. Yesterday, when the king node was at 609, 610, I think that was the price from yesterday. It closed around there, like really well. It stayed pinned, and the king node was there the whole time. Even though it dipped, we ended up closing at 610. So I was like, okay, that's pretty strong. So I added 4 positions, and I got in like $89, and I was like, I think they're a little too high, but I was shooting for 613. So anyways, it's going. I'm noticing the size is still increasing. The magnitude of the 615 strikes are increasing. I'm like, okay, this is good. But we have this wall at 613, and I think that what I was learning, that this is considered a gatekeeper wall. And I'm still trying to get used to all these terms. So a gatekeeper, and it usually is reflected by a big number, usually, and then by a green color as well. They said don't focus on the color, focus on the magnitude. And this magnitude was at, pretty high. It was the second highest order on here. So, but the king node kept on increasing. And I felt like, from what I was seeing on my charts, they always say focus on the charts first, not the, skylight. Skylight's a confirmation tool. It's not going to be, your go-to. But, as it did dip on the VWAP again and then recovered instantly. This dipped from some comments. Let's see what happened. I remember this clear. I heard it, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not going to sell yet. Let me see how this holds against the VWAP. And it held above the VWAP pretty decently. So this is, let's see, 1045. So right here. I think this was one of the news headlines. Yeah, one of these. And then that's that. I'll go over the punch here in a little bit too. Anyways, that held, recovered above the VWAP and kept writing above the 90 EMAs. And I was like, okay, fine, this is good. But I'm still noticing this is more in a positive environment. The first thing that they want you to focus on is like, okay, what environment do you see? Do you see a positive environment or do you see, a gamma negative? But these orders keep on increasing. So it got me really into thinking, okay, I am in the right direction. It is trending that way, but it's still choppy. It still hasn't broken through. It's still stuck within this range. I'm like, okay, if it can break through, maybe 615 is that resistance that we'll see today. But these orders kept on increasing, and it led me to, I kept on holding. So I held 5 contracts. And then I exited pretty much right here. I exited 4 contracts. So we'll go here. You can see my X right here, 824. I exited 4 contracts. I wanted to leave one runner. I want to start leaving one runner because sometimes those one runners can be a lot more. So I exited 824. So basically, yeah, as this candle was finishing at the top here, because it did break. I saw this right here. It hit 613.40. I'm like, I want to see how it can do against the $0.50, and it rejected above the $0.50. So I'm like, okay, that's good. We touched it at least, and I got out. Then my next entry or my next exit was the last call, and I lost $24 because I held just 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes can cost you this much profits, and these were up, I believe, $20 as well, or $30, because it started turning pretty quickly. So at the end of this candle right here, this is when things happened, and I stopped trading. I was done because I was already done with my Pltr. I could have traded these to the puts. These puts did print, so that's what I'm saying. 2 ways this could have happened. And on choppy days, I'm like, okay, maybe we look for that rejection point. If we're trending like we did, in the first, I guess, hour or so, I guess almost 2 hours at this point. So I noticed, I was watching this, reviewing as this is going. So 8:30, this is when things start to sell off. Reach that peak, and then you're going to see how the colors change and how the size changes, and then an order starts building up, I think closer to the 611, and this ceiling comes down. So this is a rolling of a ceiling. So this is when that ceiling gets the resistance, pretty much it's resistance starts decreasing, and our support starts to fall. So this is when things start to sell off. We were at 613. You saw how we dumped to 611, and you see how that ceiling came down at 611, that king node. This area was building up, the 611s. But also you have to look at the chart too and see if that supports. Hey, like, does that support what's going on? And it did. And I was thinking about this, like, what are the chances we hit the 200 moving average today? But I don't know. I was looking at the 15. 15 did look a little bit exhausted. But sometimes I don't want to just play, oh, it's going to come down, because sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. You could rally pretty strong. We hit the 50 EMA on here. But on the 5 minute, we held pretty strong above the 200 EMA. So I thought this was pretty cool. I'm like, okay, this is it. Yeah, it did help me profit. It does work. It is proof that it does help you see how the environment is, to see how what the order flow is like, and the wall was there. The wall was at 613, as you can see from earlier. So we'll look at 615. We were stuck here at 613. And on these choppy days, when it's positive, when you see these values are positive, you can expect choppy slow price action. There's no trend. On the negative days, hopefully we can get a day where this gamma is negative. Apparently, it's when the trend is following through, and it's more volatile too. So yeah, you see how these orders at these lower bids or these lower strike prices kept building up, and we went to low as 610. Then 200 EMA was around 609, and yeah, it barely went under 610. So I profited those, but you could have gone 2 ways. So I did, let's see, reply to myself. I always reply to myself in case I'm going to talk about something. Okay, so look. These were the puts. These were the calls. Look at these calls. So we'll roll that back. That was really fast. Okay. So you see the lowest you could have gotten these calls were $56, but you never get this at the bottom. And this was around 710. So we look at this 710. In this area, you're looking to get calls here, but then it's like, okay, why does this support calls? You're not going to get this at the very bottom because it's going to just kept on dumping. And you're like, okay, wow, I just got calls for 613 and dumped to 609. you would have lost way more, and that doesn't support that. You'll never get into the bottom, so I'm okay with that. Right here, maybe you could have gone maybe 70, but at the same time, I'm looking at the structure too. It's easy to say that you can get in way cheaper, but it's it's not so hard. It's not so easy real time. This is a good area for the dip right there. I think that would have been an ideal spot to retest the VWAP after that trend started to move, because this was the first trend actually started to give us, a structure, to give us a thesis on what, the day might look like. And that was that first retest. So maybe I should look for that, getting contracts cheaper. And they did get cheaper because I was down like 100 initially, and I was like, I'm gonna see how this holds on the VWAP. It's a little bit risky, but I still see the vision. And 15-minute was green. It did support that. So yeah, I know what I was risking. But the puts, look at the puts. Well, these puts went up a lot more. They were around 300. They're 193 at the time. At 8:46, they were 183, and that was already at work, so I couldn't have traded this. But at the earlier, I think another 20 minutes, they were at 300. These went from $84. Let me see. As soon as you start catching this trend, maybe $100, you could have gone from $100 to $300 just from that one contract alone. So imagine 5. So that would have been ideal. That would have been ideal, seeing how that crossover happened. Let me roll this back one more time just so you guys can see. So this is when that pivot point started happening around at 8:20 on my time. Right here it's 11:30. Sorry if you guys are from the East Coast. I like the West Coast. Too expensive though. So 11:20. So this is when we start seeing that shift. You see all that order flow starts decreasing, and then this next order right here starts to build up. So I need to start paying attention. You see how instantly that 613 flow started increasing. And I'm still going through the courses, all these setups that they have on here from when you're looking at the chart structure, and to see if this is matching what, the order flow is looking like. And yeah, that ceiling kept on coming down. And it was already at 611 by that time, but it kept sinking further. See, 611 kept increasing. That king node started decreasing really quickly, and then our new king node was 611. So yeah. And then looking at the chart, you could easily want to target. I would say targeting 200 EMA, I think, is really ideal, because you can see how right here and instantly it didn't go any lower than that. It held at the 200, and then from there, there's no trade here. Here, no trade, because why would you trade in the middle of the day? So let's look at here. Let's see how this looks. So you see, look how QQQ is. Look now in the middle of the day at 12:46, and I just moved it from there. So 12:46. Let's see. Yeah. So this is when this choppiness started to happen. It's constantly back and forth. So what I mean by positive too, so when I was learning, they were saying that the dealers will typically buy on the dips and then sell on the rips in this positive gamma environment. And you see, this is mostly positive in this Pika clouds. So this price is going to be pinned. These are Pika clouds. When it starts turning green and yellow, there's more positive too. Price is going to be pinned. The king node is at that price level, so it kept it there. And then at some point we ended up breaking out at around 1510 or military standard time. So let's see, that's going to be 145. So let's see what happens. We'll see that change here. So let's see, QQQ. Wait, 2 right here, because then this is where we started to pump a little bit. Let me speed this up. Okay, I guess not. I mean, we went from 610 to 612, not $1.50 on QQQ. Honestly, that's the real slow move. Like QQQ moves a lot more liquid. All right, so let's go to Palantir. Palantir, what happened? Why did I take it? And I'm swinging over the weekend too. Trump called it out. I'm this Discord group. They're doing expiry for 136. It's already up 128. So Palantir. So right here. So he literally tweeted on his Trump's social. So Palantir has proven the Great War fighting capabilities and equipment. Just ask our enemies. So he's calling them, saying that, hey, these guys are good. And Trump doing that, that's like, okay, I made $41 on this, and I sold it around 738. This was a quick trade. So this is my trade. Palantir. You see this ginormous candle. 738 is when I exited, so I exited somewhere at the top because I think it was in the middle of this candle. As soon as I saw this tweet, because I have this like notification, I saw Palantir, instantly turned it on, and this thing was already at like 126. This thing was ripping from lows. We dipped and it just ripped. So that was a quick trade. I am holding over the weekend. They are looking for 130, I believe a 130 strike price, and it did run into support here at the double bottom. We closed above it. And honestly, this is going to be based on sentiment. And there's some other stuff related to AI and some other big investors involved in this. So this is a lot of sentiment, but I'm going along for the ride. I took 2 contracts, 136, and we'll see how they go. So today, what did I do today for my small caps? Small caps. I traded BNEF. So we're green. We're 5-5 for the month. $95 on the month for the small caps. So it hasn't been that crazy, but I'm green and I'm consistent. I mean, you do that for like months straight on, you're going to be in a good spot. So why did I trade BNEF? Let's see. So what was going on with BNEF? This is US stock finance. You see all the setup I have to do. Switch. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, so this thing pumped. Okay, so what I wasn't expecting for this, jeez, I was not expecting this to break through to pre-market. It went up to over $5. Now, as hold on. Let me go to the trade itself. $15, one trade. That's all I needed. And it was really quick. Let me look at the entry. That entry was I got in 733. I held for 20 seconds. I was not expecting this to go above $5. My entry was at 450 to 50 shares. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. I already pumped. And there was just some news. I forgot what the news was. Okay, they close like a transaction. Beneficient closes 8.75 million primary capital transaction. They didn't look into it. I mean, it screamed bullish based on how the price action was moving. 450, 733. So within 733, so let's see, 1, 2, right here. So I waited till this. It made this first high, this wick at 452, and as soon as it broke through, I'm pretty sure I got it at 455. Yeah, looking for that break at that $0.50 where it made initial resistance and then took off. I held for 20 seconds. I took it off in the same candle, and then I was not expecting this to run to over $5. So what I was looking at too was at the daily. Where is the stupid daily? Oh, right here. Okay. Oh, the 50 EMA. Okay. I noticed we were already above the 50 EMA resistance, and then I noticed a wick right here as well. This was something that stood out to me, 488, but we instantly went through that, and we hit resistance right here at the 529. Pretty sure it went over 529 and went over 578. So I was pretty surprising. I was not expecting that at all, for it to go over $5. And am I mad? No, not really. I mean, look, small caps are hard, very, very hard, and I'm just grateful I can trade. I'm really grateful I can trade. So very quick, we are $95 in on the month and no losses. No losses on here. So I need to do the same with the options, because the options is a little bit harder, mainly because they can go to zero and they do deteriorate fast. So gotta be careful. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Monday, let me know. I mean, if anyone says yes, I think I'm gonna do it regardless, but I just want to know how you guys feel. And yeah, just remember, it's gonna look like this. It's gonna look a little shitty. I already showed you guys in the beginning, but excuse me. Yeah, looking forward to all that. Thank you guys. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. Peace.